Okay. My mic was mute. Okay, I got it now. My mic was muted. I was trying to figure out. My mic was mute. Yeah, my mic was muted. I was trying to figure out. My mic was muted. I was trying to figure out. Because I know good and well. I was like, oh wow. So, hey, let me go ahead and get everything back in. Um, sorry about the delay. Sorry about the delay. Just give me a second or two. Let me go ahead on to get everything squared back up. Get everything squared back up because that's taking place. And you got to work it out. That's just what it is. You got to work it out. So my apologies for this. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna blow the shofar because this is my Shabbat. This is rather, I don't know if you celebrate the Shabbat or not, but if you do, happy Shabbat to each one of you. And to those who don't celebrate the Shabbat, but you are coming in to listen to the channel, hey, Shabbat to you. And how you doing? Good afternoon to each one of you. Thank you for stopping by to the ITFTR channel. That's me, Indigenous Talk for the Righteous Entertainment Network. Because this is where we speak the truth. And we go and do an investigation so we can break these things down. But without no further ado, I'm going to blow my shofar. So all praises to the Creator. This is the day that the Creator made for us to celebrate the Shabbat, the symbolic Shabbat, because there's only one Shabbat. That's Genesis, the second chapter, verse 1 and 2. It's only one Shabbat, family. And it's up to us to get back to that Shabbat. So I want you to be able to, to understand that there's only one Shabbat. It's not multiple Shabbats. Now, those other Shabbats were added Shabbats. But it's our job to get back to that one Shabbat so that we can rest with the Creator. And that's why this lesson, we're in part 9 called, War Between the Male and the Female. Because there is a war that's going on between the male and the female. Okay? So if you haven't seen part 1 through 8, I advise you to go back and look, get your paper and pen, and take some notes. Because there's gonna be a lot of notes. I'm talking about a lot of notes you missed. Okay? So we want to move forward. We want to move forward into the lesson. We're in part 9, the male and the female. Now, last Shabbat, last week, we talked about the serpent curse. Now, I want to kind of just finish up on the serpent's curse. Because the serpent curse is something that we really need to be paying attention to, because that curse is real important into what we see today. Okay, that's like I said, on last Shabbat, on last week, that was a very important lesson because we are now dealing with the curse. Okay, meaning the desires now. And bruise thy head and bruise thy heel, like I showed on last week. Some of you believe that that was introducing Jesus Christ or your Yahweh Shah, your Yahusha. But it has nothing to do with that. It's talking about it shall bruise thy head. Okay? It's going to bruise the head. It's going to desire thy head. It's going to desire to be the head, meaning the seed of the woman. It's going to desire to be the seed. It's going to be the desire to be the head, the ruler, the top. And that the serpent is going to desire to be the heel, meaning the footstep or the hinder part. Okay? It's going to desire to be the hinder part. Meaning is the serpent is going to follow after its ruler, because the serpent is now beneath and below everything. It has nothing. It has nothing to. It's in the concealed cave, meaning the history and everything about that serpent is hidden. So it's going to desire to be around you. That nation is going to desire to be around you. That's why it doesn't matter where you go. That nation is going to follow you because it's been cursed to the ground. It's eating rubbish. It's eating everything. See, that's why we have to be very careful in the things that we put up. Just give me 1 second. Let me put this right here. We have to be very careful at the things that we put up, that we allow to follow us. That's why, number one, the serpent was judged to be in a cave. All right? That's the cave dweller, the serpent generation. Number two, the serpent was excommunicated. That means it has no more jurisdiction of nothing. Number three, the serpent was to eat rubbish. That's the dung of the earth. We're going to talk about that in a second. Number four, the serpent's authority does not pass the livestock nor the laws of mankind. Everything now rules the serpent. Number five, the serpent can never please nor be in the presence of the Creator. That's over. It's judged. That nation is judged. It's over for that nation. And number six, the serpent was cursed to follow, not ever to lead. So now when you see that something is leading you that was cursed, you have to wonder and realize why it is doing what it's doing. Because it was put there. The serpent is doing what? The serpent is doing what? The serpent is leading you according to its desire. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. And when he rule, he's going to rule according to what? Its desire. It has nothing to do with you, family. Because the serpent is going to try to come back and be in power. And a lot of us is going to do what? We're going to be the ones that allow that serpent to come back in power. Not real power, but fictitious power, fake power. Because we're going to be the ones that do what? We're going to be the ones that validate him. Because we believe in the things that the serpent offers you. Okay? That's what we believe. They're the things that the serpent offers you. So we're going to get into a video real quick. And this video is right here. It's called Um, let me go down here. Let me see if I saved it. This is the serpent's food. Now, if anybody wants to join the chat, please do so. The link is in the chat. You can come up. This is the study. The study shows links between processed food and cancer. Okay. We're talking about processed food. Those who wants to join the chat, you can. You can come on up and you can come join the chat if you choose to. But make sure you press that like button, that share button, and also the subscribe button if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel. Okay. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please feel free to do so. And also, please press the thumbs up. Press the thumbs up or the thumbs down, just to let us know that you agree or you disagree. Also, make sure you press the like button, the subscribe button, and also the share button, okay, to let others know that we are here, or those who you may know who wants to watch and needs to hear this lesson, to make sure you share it with them. Okay. So we're going to move forward, and I thank everyone, those who do come in late, that for coming in, and those who watch the channel later on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Because without you, this channel will not be moving forward as much as possible. Okay. So I thank y'all, for each one of you all, from different walks of life and from different thought patterns. Thank you for just at least tuning in. All right. So this is called, we're going to get into the video. This is called The Study Shows Links Between Processed Food and Cancer. This is the enemy's food. This is rubbish that I was telling y'all that the enemy is cursed to eat all the days of his life. And now the rubbish is now being passed to you. So let's get on into it. Let's ride.
Assume could be.
Well, let me stop it real quick. Fair use, fair use. This is not my material. I don't have this is video that from a news network. So fair use, fair use. This is for the Copyright Act of 1970. We are here to criticize, teach, and to upbuild our people, so as that they can think better in the process of becoming who they're supposed to be. So fair use, fair use. Let's ride. Let me start over.
Meat can increase our risk of. What have you eaten today? Because what we innocently consume could be harming us. We've known for several years that certain food, such as processed meat, can increase our risk of disease. But now, French researchers have made a worry with ultra-processed food cancer.
Western diets are characterized by the intake of an average of, it could get to 50% of ultra-processed foods in our diets. Even
now, I want you to pay attention. He says ultra processed food and processed food. So there's a difference now. Okay, there is a difference, because I don't want y'all to think that it's just one type of processed food. No, he says ultra processed food and processed food. Okay, so let's keep riding.
a healthy product nutritionally can be ultra processed, because it.
And one more thing, he said that most of your foods that you are eating, 50% of it is ultra processed. Okay, it's ultra processed. Let's go.
Nutritionally can be ultra processed because it can have preservatives or sweeteners.
So what do
So he says food colorings, sweeteners is some of the things that is killing you or causing cancer. Now, who would put stuff in your food to make it cancerous if it's not the nation that comes from the serpent? Let's go.
Or sweeteners.
So what do dietitians mean by ultra-processed food, and how do they differ from unprocessed and processed foods?
Unprocessed food or it might be like foods that are cooked. Bread in the olden days used to be made of 3 things, and now it's made of quite a few more things. So that now fits into a processed, pretty processed product. And then we have things which are just made out of, things that we wouldn't necessarily recognize as food at all. So there's an awful lot of ingredients in this. None of them really look like food at all. So that would fit into the ultra processed category.
So the things that like bread, that is what they call processed because they done added a couple of things to it. Because see, back in the days, they say that bread was just made of 3 things, but now it has more ingredients, so they call that processed. So things that is added more into the food that's not recognized as food, that's ultra processed. Now I want y'all to pay attention to that. They're breaking it down between ultra processed and processed. So you're eating the enemy's diet, the serpent's diet. Okay? Let's ride.
That would fit into the ultra processed category.
Many ultra-processed foods contain artificial ingredients designed to keep them fresh on the shelves and make them look more appetizing. They include meals, cakes, mass-produced bread, and instant noodles.
So in other words, you're talking about stuff that the process and ultra process has the ingredients to make it stay on the shelf and look fresh. To look fresh. And we steady consuming this stuff in our bodies. See, when the Bible says that the enemy is going to eat rubbish, it meant rubbish. So why are you eating rubbish? Why are we eating rubbish? Because we gave the power over to the enemy. There's no more protector in the house. The protector's gone. Okay? The protector's gone. That's right.
Produce bread and noodles.
There's an old piece of advice that you should only eat food that your grandparents would recognize. But the reality of life in the modern age is that fast, cheap, and inevitably high food is very tempting. So how we confidence
Fresh fruit, link ultra-processed foods, rule out other factors. Many consumers of ultra-processed foods are more likely to smoke and be overweight, both key causes of cancer. But the overriding advice is clear. If we must eat processed food, eat it in moderation. Barker,
So there you have it. He said, if you got to eat processed food or ultra processed, eat it in moderation. Eat it in moderation. So this is the thing that the enemy has you doing, eating processed and ultra processed food. And we don't understand why obesity is still is harming us. Why we're overweight. We don't understand why we have issues with cancerous and inflammation and all these other things because you turn to the enemy's diet. You're no longer in the jurisdiction that you can eat the things that you supposed to eat for yourself. So now you have to survive. And now you're surviving in the realm of the serpent. You're surviving in his realm. Let's have this conversation. Let's talk about something else. Let's go to the next video. Because he got the so-called melanated man out of the house. And now the melanated woman is now in the position of now in the place that she now have to go and work. Okay? So as she's now going to work, who's watching the children? Tell me who's watching the children.
They're watching themselves.
Yeah, or strangers.
Yeah, or if they're in school, or yeah, strangers, family members.
Yeah. So as the strangers, as your child has no no type of guidance, no type of guidance. This is the reason why we are being put in a position, and why we are in the position that we are in. This next video is called The Urban Renewal, the Remaking of Society Hill. We're not going to watch this whole video. We're only going to watch parts of it. So let's get into it. Fair use for your caboose. Let me go and mute that. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to who's living in Philadelphia and who's living in decaying, burnt down, or who's living in decaying, infested places. That was not the Negro. Okay, let's start it back over again. So now everybody started flocking to the suburbs. because the neighborhoods that they were living in were all rust out. Bricks was coming out of the wall and et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Let's go back at it again. Now, I want y'all to see that. Did y'all see them drawing lines? Did y'all see them drawing lines? Listen to what she just said, and we're going to get a scripture real quick. And then I want y'all to pay attention to who is the urban planners. Look at their color. Go. That's an urban planner. And we're going to look up the word urban in a minute. Let's go.
I'm not seeing
Drawing
anything.
lines. Let's go. Huh?
Not seeing anything.
Oh, you're not seeing nothing? Hold on. Hold on. Let me go back. Did I do it right? Or did I do it wrong? I don't know. Let's see this song. All right, let me share the screen. Maybe I didn't share it. Let me share the screen. Let me see if it'll share this time. All right. Here we go. You see it now?
Yes.
All right, let's ride. Let's start it back over.
In 1950,
Look at who's living in those slums and ghettos.
And decay.
That ain't
As
the
residents
Negro.
flocked to the suburbs, the brick row houses and crowded marketplaces of the old city. In 1950, Philadelphia's oldest neighborhoods were caught in a spiral of abandonment and decay. As residents flocked to the suburbs, the brick row houses and crowded marketplaces of the old city faded into the shadows of a disappearing past. But urban planners were...
See the urban planner right there? That's the urban planner. Now let's look up the definition for the word urban. What does urban means? Let's get the definition for the word urban. Because you always hear them talking about the urban development project. Excuse me. Urban. Go ahead. What you got?
It says urban in relating to or characteristic of a town or city.
That's it?
It says denoting or relating to popular dance music associated with Black performers.
Oh, so now we're talking about the Black so-called area. Okay. Let's go to the so when these folks talking about the urban areas, okay, read that second definition again.
It says denoting or relating to popular dance music associated with Black performers.
So now we are talking about a certain area that belongs to certain people because of a culture or a custom. Okay? What is the basic definition of urban? An urban area is the region surrounding a city. It's a region. Region. Let's look up that definition for region. What is a region? A region is an area or division, especially part of a country or the world having definable characteristics but not always fixed boundaries. So you're talking about, when you're talking about an urban area, it's talking about a region that don't have no boundaries. Meaning that anybody can just flood and enter into it. It's having definable characteristics, meaning they know who these people are, but not always fixed boundaries, meaning anybody could come in and grab it up because there's nothing there to stop them. So an urban area is a region, meaning a specific area surrounding a city. Most inhabitants of urban areas have non-cultural jobs. I want y'all to pay attention to that. Non-cultural jobs. Non-agricultural jobs. They don't plant. Now I'm going to show you why this is very important, this definition. Urban areas are very developed. It's developed. Meaning there is a density of human structures such as what? Houses, commercial buildings, roads, bridges, and railways. Urban areas can refer to towns, cities, and what? Suburbs. So when they say that they was moving to the suburbs, all they was doing was moving to another urban area. See, the Caucasian was the ones that was in the urban areas, not you. They was the ones that was living in crowded places, whereas that it was shortage of everything, not you, so-called Negro. See, they want to make it look like you came on slave ships and blah, 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 blah. No, that's not you. That's not you. That was the enemy. Let's go.
Reimagining cities of its past. But urban planners were reimagining cities, and these historic blocks would soon become laboratories for change.
So they call it laboratory for change. They reimagining the cities. Let's play that one more time. I want you to catch that.
The shadows of a disappeared past. Urban planners were reimagining cities, and these historic blocks would soon become laboratories for change.
What is a laboratory? What is a laboratory? They are reimagining. Notice they are showing you, they drawing lines of blocks. See, they are the ones who are in the wrong place. They are the ones who brought you into their realm. A laboratory is a room or building equipped for what? Scientific experiments, research, or teaching, or for the manufacture of drugs or chemicals. And I just showed you the process of foods. I just showed you that a lot of the foods that you're eating is processed, and that is part of the laboratory experiment that they got you in. You don't even realize that you are in an experiment bubble. Let's see this again. Let's hear it again.
Past. But urban planners were reimagining cities, and these historic blocks would soon become laboratories for change.
Laboratory for change. Change for what? Because they people was the ones that were struggling. They people was the ones that were poor. Their people was the ones that were living under the water. But now they made it a laboratory, a place to do experiments, scientific experiment. That's what the Urban Renewal Act is. Ben Carson was just over the urban. He was the urban secretary. See, when you live in the urban areas, you living in a laboratory. And we already told you what an urban area is. What is considered an urban area? Let's go back again. Let's look at it again. It says, in relating to or characteristics of a town or city. So if you're living in a city, you're living in an urban area. If you're living in a town or a suburb, you are living in an urban area. It's called laboratories. So now, let's look up the definition for that's all we're going to see on that. You can watch the rest of the video on your own. That's all we're going to see on this. I just wanted you to hear the front part of this, because you have to really see what the enemy has done. Let's look up the Urban Indian Relocation Act of 1956. The Urban Indian Act of 1956. Because it's talking about the cities. It's talking about the towns and the suburbs. See, this is what they're talking about. So when we're talking about the Urban Indian Removal Act or relocation, they're talking about relocating the Indians of the America. And so let's look at what it says. It says the American Indian urban relocation. Because see, they was drawing lines. And those lines and those jurisdictions are laboratories. And certain people control those jurisdiction lines. But we call them state lines or county lines or city lines. But not knowing that those are different laboratories that is drawing experimenting from you. So the American Indian urban relocation, the U.S. government efforts to assimilate American Indians into mainstream culture can be seen throughout the 20th century in the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the BIA activities. So we're talking about the 20th century. This is the 1900s, family. This is not too far from 2023. In 1953, the U.S. Congress established a new policy towards American Indians, a new policy. Termination. This policy eliminated much government support for Indian tribes and ended the protected trust status of all Indian-owned land. So they're taking away your land. They're taking away the very thing from you. Okay? So as they're taking away these things from you, family, watch this. In response to this policy, the BIA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, began a volunteer urban relocation program. Volunteered. It was up to you, rather, if you want to participate in this program. American Indians could move from their rural tribes to metropolitan areas such as Chicago, Stop. Who's in Chicago? Do you see Native Americans in Chicago? Hell no. Who's mainly in Chicago? Negroes. Los Angeles. Those are Negroes. Now, what it was before the Hispanic and Latino took it over. Cleveland. That's another Negro area. Seattle. See? Move them into major cities during that time. BIA pledged assistance with what? Locating houses and employment. See, housing and employment, meaning they put them in the ghettos. Good Times showed you that. In Chicago, most of all the Negroes in Chicago was looking for employment and housing. They had to keep the housing that they had or fight to keep it. Bookman was always trying to throw them out. That was in Chicago, family, in the ghettos, what they call the urban areas. Numerous American Indians made moves to cities. They left the country and came to the cities. Why? They struggled to adapt to what? Life in the metropolitans and face unemployment, low-end jobs, discrimination, homesickness, and loss of tradition, culture, of support. Remember, James Evans was always trying to find something up, but he always couldn't find it because of unemployment, because he wasn't skilled, not into the system that he was in. Low-end jobs. Remember, James Evans had to work at a car wash just to be able to what? Pay the rent. Discrimination. Homesickness. A lot of us are homesick because we know we belong to something great, but we just don't know what it is. And the loss of what? Traditional culture supports. We don't even know what our culture is now. The urban relocation face of cities as well as the American Indian culture. American Indians who returned to their reservations often found they did not fit in. Why did they not fit in? Because your enemy done took their place. With those who stayed behind. Who the ones that stayed behind? The ones that say that they are you today. So when a Negro, that's what it meant when they went out, they left black and came back. Now they're turned to be white. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about that land over there that you call Israel. They're talking about the reservations. They left Negro in America, but when you turn back, they don't see a Negro. They see all kind of other people. It says, when the BIA urban relocation effort started, nearly 8% of American Indians, so-called, lived in cities. 8%. The 2000 census noted that American Indians population has what? Risen to approximately 64%. Who is the 64% of American Indians living in cities? Who are they? That's almost 75% of the American Indians from off the population reservations. Is that true? Not for those Mongoloids and those Hispanic Asians that you call Indians. Not for them. That's talking about you. So the serpent made The serpent created a system. And they drew lines. Let's go to Amos 7:17. Let's go to Amos 7:17. They drew lines in your land. In your land.
I have it.
Now go ahead.
Therefore, thus saith the Creator, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy
Stop. Your wife's gonna be a harlot, a prostitute. Now, the first thing we're thinking about is living a woman that's living as a whore. Now, your wife, it says your wife will become a prostitute in the city, or shall be a prostitute, meaning she's going to go after the things that the city offers. This is a curse. This is a curse, family. She's going to go after the things that the city has to offer her. Health care, insurance, employment. She's going to go after making the money. See, the enemy that set up, he followed the woman and set a what you call it, a system around her. This is a laboratory. So he's going to make her become a prostitute. Go ahead.
and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword.
Meaning they're going to get killed in the city. They're going to turn against each other. Because remember, this is a laboratory. This is a scientific experiment. When you live in these cities, towns, and suburbs, you're not under your own jurisdiction no more. So they're going to throw things into your area to see just how you and your children react towards it. Because you gave yourself over to this enemy. So now your children is going to be put to death. Go ahead.
And thy land shall be divided by line.
Your land shall be divided by what?
By line.
Nah, did we not just see that? They divided your land up by lines, block by block, city by city, town by town. They're making jurisdictions within your own, within those cities and putting you there. You're in the Watley County, then you cross over this line. You in the Jenkins County, then you cross over that line. You in the Smith County. You see what I'm saying? Who is these people that control these different blocks? They divided everything up to be able to control you. Go ahead.
And thou shalt die in a polluted land.
What is that polluted land? I just sat there and told you eating processed food. That's the phrase. I'm not going to get all into it, but you're getting miseducated. Your culture is gone. You don't even have your culture. You don't even know your culture. It's polluted. It's polluted with everything else except you. Nothing about you is in it. It's a polluted land now. They put you in a polluted area. Go ahead.
And Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land.
And it says, and away from their native land. I just sat there and told you, you migrated to the cities. And doing before that, they were coming and kidnapping you and taking you down into the Bahamas and taking and spreading you out across these lands. So you're not in your native land. You're in someone else's now land. And the first thing we say, oh, see, we came on ships. They ain't talk about coming on ships. Your native land was the actual territory you belonged to. This is the system of the enemy. This is the system of the enemy. This is the reason why the serpent follows closely behind the female. Because the female can keep the male off balance or destroyed. And the female thinks she's the greatest piece on the chessboard. She's powerful, but she's not the important piece. Let's get into this next video. Why black women will never be a queen. Let's get into it. This is why black women will never be a queen. This is the Crimson Cure. Y'all need to check her out. She's powerful. So fair use for your caboose. This is not my material. This is for teaching purposes only under the Fair Use Act. We are here for reaction to the video. Let's ride.
The queen is the most powerful piece on the board, which is actually true. But what they fail to understand is why the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. But she's not the most important piece on the board. Because if the queen is captured, the game is not over. That's not a checkmate. You get a checkmate when the king is captured.
Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that? The queen is not the most powerful piece on the chessboard, those who know how to play chess. It's the king. You can take the queen off the board. She's powerful. She can move all over the place. But she's not the powerfulest piece on the board. The powerful piece on, she's powerful. She's the most powerful piece, but she's not the main piece. The main piece that's on the board is the actual who? King. Because when you take the king out, then that means the game is over. The game is over, family. Not when you take the queen out. So let's keep going. Let's go back and let's listen to her one more time.
The role of a queen. See, I hear it a lot around here. Women that don't know nothing about all talk. The most powerful piece on. But what they fail to understand is why the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. But she's not the most important piece on the board. Because if the queen is captured, the game is not over. That's not a checkmate. A checkmate when the king is captured. That is when the chess game is over. All of the latitude and all of the power and all of the ability that the queen piece actually has to move across the board is there to support the king piece, which is actually more important than her.
Now, I hope y'all caught that. For her to maneuver the way she maneuvered on the chessboard is to support the king. It's not there to support herself. She's not there to support herself. For the queen to move the way she moved, it's only there to support the male. Let's go.
That is when the chess game is over. All of the latitude and all of the power and all of the ability that the queen piece actually to support the king, which is so responsibility. That responsibility is actually rooted in the support of the king. The queen is not there to look cute. Even when we talk about real queens, queens of old, queens when there were monarchies and stuff like that, she's not there to just look cute. She's not there to just have her maid servants and all of this kind of stuff waiting on her hand and foot. That's not what she's there for. She's got her little crew of maid servants, and that's it. The queen is in service realm. And more specifically, she's in service to the king. Matter of fact, she's not a queen without a king. The only
Now, I hope y'all catch that. You cannot be a queen unless you got a king. Let's go back and let's hear it again.
She's not there to just look cute. She's not there to just have her maid servants and all of this kind of stuff, on her hand.
And remember what I had said earlier. I told y'all at the end of chapter 2, verse 24, 25, that's when Adam had announced to the world that this was his wife. If the male never announced that this is his wife, she can never be a helpmeet to him. Then she will become a whore. I said that in previous videos of this lesson, the war between the male and the female. The male has to announce that this is his wife. Otherwise, she will be a whore to him. Okay? Let's ride.
Responsibility is actually rooted in the support of the king. The queen is not there to look cute. Even when we talk about real queens, queens of old, queens when there were monarchies and stuff like that, she's there to just look cute. She's not there to just have her maids kind of waiting on her hand and foot. That's not what she's there for. She's got her little crew of maid servants, and that's it. The queen is in service to the realm, and more specifically, she's in service to the king. Matter of fact, she's not a queen without a king.
I hope y'all hear that.
The only reason why Queen Elizabeth retains that title is because Britain is not a monarchy anymore. That it's ceremonial almost. She don't run that country. She's not involved in the legislature of that country. That's a title she has. The royal family is something separate than the actual government. But back when monarchies were the government, the queen was only in support of the king. Everything she was able to do, all of the latitude she had was there to support the king. She was nothing. Queen is nothing without a king. When a king marries a woman, she's automatically fit status. If a queen's king dies, she's in trouble. She doesn't get to just marry a common man and make him a king. If she wants to retain queen title, she gonna have to marry another king, and thus she becomes under the jurisdiction of that king. If a queen become widowed and she marries another king, that king takes ownership of her and the country she was sitting with, that her husband was with. King passed away.
Now I hope y'all caught that. So it's not about, see, we have to understand, y'all heard what she said, jurisdiction. See, if a woman marries another man, then that male, she was a part of, his jurisdiction now becomes another man's jurisdiction. I hope y'all catching this. I hope y'all catching this. She can no longer rule the way in the jurisdiction of her husband because he's dead. Okay? So when she go and marry someone else, that man now becomes the ruler. And he takes over the jurisdiction that her previous husband, who has died, was ruling. All that becomes his now. Let's go.
He comes into power there. She don't come into power where he's at. See, y'all ain't gonna ever be queens because y'all don't understand what queendom is. Queen, y'all think queen means I get to stunt and everybody gets to serve me, including and especially black men. Have served me because I'm queen and he's not a shopper. And see, all of that coming around talking about you a king, black man is a king, is all capped, because if he was a king, you would be supporting him. Everything you did would be in his support.
You see what the help meet does? You see what the help meet does? We about to get into the curse of the woman. That's why she's the beginning of what I'm about to bring down for the woman. You see what I'm saying? If that so-called melanated man was a king, you would be in support 100% to what that melanated man is doing. Not so much of what your desires are, because your desires are his desires. But we don't understand that. Let's go.
The power that any queen holds serves the king. If you don't serve the king, your power is useless and you lose the game.
So there you go. So if the queen was on the chessboard, like she was saying, it was there to serve that king. You got a black and a white nation on that chessboard. The black queen was there to support and in place to protect and serve that king, making sure nothing gets to that king. Same thing on the other side, that white nation. That queen does the same thing. She is the top powerful piece on the board, but she's not the important piece. The way she moved only, all right, hold it down today. Her movement is only there in response and support of the king that's on the board. Because once when he's trapped and can't move, the game over. The game over. The game over.
Become queen, and he's not a king, he's a pauper. And see, all of that coming around talking about you a king, black man is a king, is all because if he was you would be supporting him. Everything you did would be in his support. The power that any queen holds serves the king. If you don't serve the king, your power is useless and you lose the game. If we go back to a chess game, if the queen is not using her power to preserve the pieces, specifically the king, but she can't be reckless and get all the other pieces caught up either.
See, she said reckless and getting all the other pieces caught up. That's talking about the family, the protection, the bishops, the pawn, the knights. The queen she's supposed to be there to protect all the other pieces. That is protecting the kingdom. But she can't use her power, like the sisters just say, reckless. Meaning it's only desired, she's desiring everything about herself. She becomes reckless. Let's ride.
If she's doing this, if she's not using her power to support the strength of the king, you've already lost that game.
There you go. Did you hear that? So when Eve did not support Adam into the decision that she made before she ate that fruit, the game was over. And the serpent knew this. The game was over. It was over. And that goes to any house. If the female is not there in support of that male vision, then that marriage been over before it even started. Now, we ain't talking about just any man. We're talking about a righteous man. A man that follows the Creator's laws. The marriage been over. Let's go.
Because why? You're going to make stupid moves that are not meant and not calculated for the end goal.
She said, because why? You're going to make dumb decisions. You're going to make ill decisions. You're going to make false decisions, fake decisions that does not support the house. And that's what Eve did. She made ill-calculated, miscalculated decisions that did not support Adam nor the house. And she got caught up. Let's go.
Not only are you protecting your king, you're attempting to capture the other one.
There you go. So the end goal is to capture the one that is trying to come inside of your house. How is another nation trying to come inside of your house? How? Through TV, through radio, through music, through everything else. They're trying to come inside of the house. Through education, through religion. They're trying to come inside of your house. Through foods that you eat. Through your jobs. They're trying to come inside of your house. I could go on. Let's ride.
You understand what I'm saying? So if the queen isn't mean in this way, she loses the game. She's a useless piece. All that power for nothing.
There you go. So the female has to be mindful of how much power and influence she has. Remember, I told y'all with the word bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh meant. Adam saw how powerful, influential, and how much she can persuade, that persuasion that she has. She's like an anvil, A-N-V-I-L. She can influence and persuade anything. But it has to be molded and it has to be done through the right manner. Because other than that, she's going to miscalculate and misuse the power that was given to her. The female is one of the powerfulest pieces on the chessboard. But if she's not using her power for that king, it's useless for the pieces that she's supposed to be protecting. Let's go.
That's what y'all want. That's what you are. All of this power just to lose the game. The gynocracy gave you so much power, so much latitude, so much leverage. And all you doing is taking L after L after L after L because you do not move in support of the king. You're not there in the service of the realm. See, Black women, you ain't the protector of the realm. The queens don't protect any. That's a one-off. So the rule. Queens are not protectors of the realm. Kings are. Anytime a king is taken away, the queen is exposed.
Ooh, I hope you caught that. If the man is removed from the house, the woman is exposed. I hope y'all caught that. There's nothing there to cover you now. We talked about it. We talked about that in Numbers, the 30th chapter. You can't cover yourselves, females. Let's go.
This is why in chess, the king capturing the king ends it. Because every other piece, including the most powerful piece on the board, is rendered now useless.
So when the king is captured, every other piece on the board is useless. I keep telling y'all about the war between male and female. Every other point, every other piece on the board is useless. We're not going to watch the whole video. But let's go.
What's the point of her power? If the king is captured, what's the point? Your king has been captured, Black woman. So what's the point of your power? If you're not utilizing the power and the leverage that has been given to you in this society to support the king, what good are you?
Ooh, did y'all hear that? What good is you if you are not there to support that melanated man? What good is you to your kingdom? Let's go.
Question that we all gotta ask. What's your point? What's the point of you? What's the point of your existence? Furthermore, let's talk about how a queen carries herself with dignity and regality. Bonnets is dignified to y'all. Crazy weave is dignified to y'all. Them spider tarantula eyelashes look like something crawling all over your face. That's dignified and regal to you. Dirty pajama pants and them ugly little nasty little neon colored fur slides that y'all like to scoot around in the hood in. That's not dignified. That's not regal. Queens carry themselves with the utmost of dignity and regality. They garner the utmost of respect for everyone because they have a station that they're representing. She's not going, and if that's who she is, that's also a title given her that she has to uphold the tenets of that title.
There you go. That's another one. The female has a title that was given to her, but she has to be the one that uphold that title. Not just carry the title just because you say that's what I am. But then when we look at you, look how you dress, look at the things you put on your body, look at the things you're doing to your body. But you want to be treated as a queen. I already understand what the word queen means in the etymology, but we just using that for conversation's sake for today. And understand what the sister is saying. You talk about royalty. She misuses her power, and look how she relates to herself by putting on the spider eyewears, like she said, the bird claws, those long fingernails. They don't have no proper way of dressing. They just dress however. Everybody can see the secret parts of them. The imagination is no longer there. They're giving you the imagination. Let's go.
There could be a queen that disgrace herself going down into the slave girls and the whores are at and mimic their behavior. A queen can't be caught down in the slum of the city drinking and smoking and guzzling eggplants everywhere she go. She get everybody in the realm know how the queen get down. She ain't having illegitimate kids everywhere. Queen can't do that.
So that means, see what she's saying? You can't be sitting there having, when she said eggplant, she talking about having blowjobs and all that. Sitting there having sex all over the place. The queen is dignified. She don't have multiple boyfriends. The queen has a king. See? The queen has a king. Not niggas that she's doing. And I use that word niggas or ninjas that she's doing. Her name ain't plastered all over the place. No. That's not the queen. That's not royalty. Let's go for like 2 more minutes.
A queen has to preserve the bloodline. A queen got to preserve the legacy. The queen got to be on top of her game in every conceivable way.
Because she's royalty of that bloodline and legacy. So when she let herself go or she misuses her power, she destroys her bloodline, she destroys her legacy, and she destroys herself. in the process of her family. That's the reason why we had those what we call big mamas. Because they was upholding the bloodline and the legacy. Because they understood their roles of royalty. Let's go.
It ain't no bunch of kings. A queen can't have a male concubine. She getting pregnant by. Any kid she birthed have to belong to the king in order for the kid to have legitimacy and in order for her to remain queen.
We have kids out of wedlock. You can't just go around having men after men after men, meaning you dragging bodies. They have to belong to that man. If it don't belong to that man, there's no legitimacy there for that child to rule. Let's go.
Do you understand what I'm saying? She can't have a high body count coming to the king as a singer. You understand what I'm saying? He ain't marrying no queen with some other king's legacy in her back pocket trailing behind her.
There it goes. See, that's the serpent. Behind her. He choose to follow in the footsteps. He ain't trying to be the leader. He's just following behind her to keep her bound. See, this sister's breaking down what I'm showing y'all in scripture in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. She's breaking it down through the chessboard. Let's go.
Queens ain't fighting somewhere to be 300 pounds and be loved for it. Y'all fight all the wrong fights talking about you a queen. Are we queens? Over what? The trash heap and not even that. You don't rule over nothing. You got no control over nothing. You control your mouth. You can't even control yourself. You can't control them little bad little grimoires you had. They can tell their bare hands. That's how bad they is. You don't have enough self-control to clean your house or clean yourself properly, some of you. It ain't no way in the world that you can call yourself a queen and do that with a straight face.
See, it's about how you handle yourself. You can't be a queen by being out of order. This sister's breaking this thing down. Let's go.
And somehow you managed to do that with a straight face and want somebody to regard you as regal and upstanding. Queens have immaculate reputations.
That reputation, we're going to leave it right there. Queens have immaculate reputations. Because may not be today, but it's going to probably more likely be next week when we get into why Adam called his wife Eve. But let's go to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. We're going to leave it right there. Like I say, make sure y'all subscribe to this sister's channel, the Crimson Cure. This sister be dropping heat. She be dropping heat. She be dropping heat. So we're going to pick up in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, verse 16. And it says, and unto the woman he said, I greatly multiply thy sorrows and thy conception. And in conception, thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Now, over thee is not there in the language. It's not there. Okay. But we're going to take that and I'm going to break that. I'm going to kind of add that in to what they were saying. Now, let's break down this verse. It says, and unto the woman. So now the serpent, so now the creator is now coming to the woman, the female. Okay? Coming to the female. He's coming towards the female, meaning the wife, and he uttered, I will. You can see that right there where it says, I will. When he say I will, that means what? To be or become great. He says to be that, so the creator is cursing her with the existence. So she's going to exist in a multiplied fashion. Okay? That's why he says, I will greatly multiply thy sorrows. So the female is now, her sorrows is now being multiplied. He said, I will, meaning while you existing, you're going to multiply in sorrows. Okay? You're going to become great in sorrows. Her existence is now being cursed. Multiply means to become numerous or become many. She's going to be numerous in sorrows. So her existence will be numerous. We're going to talk about her existence in a second. Females, we're going to talk about your existence in a second. She's going to be great. She's going to exist in numbers. It's going to be numerous. This is what's going to happen to her. That's why the sisters say you cannot be a queen unless you have a king. That was very important. Let's go to Isaiah 4:1, and then we're going to go to Jeremiah 15:8. Isaiah 4:1. Give me a second.
I have it.
Go ahead, because my computer acting kind of slow. Go ahead.
Okay, Isaiah 4:1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
So see, the scripture says there will be 7 women shall take hold of one man. Some people say, oh, this is the kingdom. Call it what you want. I'm just showing you they're going to be numerous. But I'm going to show you what they're going to be, what it means to they're going to be numerous. Saying we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by what? Your name. Your name. We need your name in order for us to survive. Like the sister say, you cannot be a queen unless you have a king. They're looking for royalty to take away our reproach. What reproach means? What do the word reproach means?
I'm looking it up, but isn't it something like you taking away like your sins or your faults or errors?
Okay.
Let's see. Reproach.
To take away our reproach. Go ahead, I'm listening.
In such a way as to express disapproval or disappointment. To express disappointment in or displeasure with a person for conduct That is blameworthy.
Okay. So they want to take away their shame or disgrace. In other words, reproach means resting upon conditions of shame or disgrace. What is the shame that a woman, that a female going to have? What is that shame? What is that? What is that reproach? See, or that condition of shame or disgrace? What is that? See, we say, oh, she because she sinned. Well, we understand she sinned. Man sinned too. But what is this the reproach that needs to be taken away? What is it? Because the Creator say He's going to multiply this thing. Let's go to Jeremiah 15:8. There's a disgrace or a condition of shame. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Is it like having a child out of wedlock, or having an adult?
That's one, having a child out of wedlock. Go ahead, what you about to say?
Being an adulteress.
Yes, that's another one.
Not supporting her husband, or not being a helpmeet like she should.
Yeah, that's another one. That goes. I could put that there, but there's some other things that's going to take away. She need her reproach taken away from. There's some real hard things that have taken place with the female. We're gonna get into it in a second. Let's go to Jeremiah 15:8. Because this female is asking for her reproach to be taken away, her disgrace and her shame. What disgraced her? Yes, having a baby out of wedlock. That shamed her, especially if she knew better. It shamed her. What else shamed her? Not having a husband. See, we got to talk about this thing. Let's go to Jeremiah 15:8, where I'm at.
I have it. Jeremiah 15:8. Their windows are increased to me above the sand of the seas. I have brought upon them against the mother of the young men a spoiler at noonday. I have caused him to fall upon it suddenly, and terrors upon the city. Is that it?
Yeah. So look what Jeremiah said in verse 8. I'm just using this verse to amplify something. He said, I will make their widow more numerous before me than the sands of the sea. Look what he's saying. I will make their widows more numerous. What is a widow? What is a widow? A widow is a woman. Go ahead.
Who lost her husband, her spouse.
Who lost her husband and has not remarried. You see? That's a widow. See? So he's going to make their widows more numerous before me. This is what he says. Read verse 7.
And I will fan them with a fan in the gates of the land. I will bereave them of children. I will destroy my people, since they return not from their ways.
What bereave means?
Grieve.
See, he would grieve their children. I will bereave them of children. I will grieve them of children. What is he saying? What is he saying? I will grieve them of children. I will bring bereavement and destruction on my people. A lot of the kids gonna get killed. A lot of the children gonna die. See, Isaiah 4:1 is talking about that female is gonna come because she's gonna realize her mistakes and she's gonna realize she need a protector. She need a protector. See, she need a protector because she wants to be royalty. But she can't be royalty by herself because she wasn't created to be royalty for herself. She wasn't created to be powerful for herself. She's going to either use that power for the upbuilding of her house, or she's going to use that power to build someone else's kingdom. But that power can never be used for herself. So he says he's going to multiply her sorrows. Sorrows in Genesis 3:16 again. Sorrows is what? Labor, hardship, or toil. She's going to go through hardship. Because she was never designed to be alone. And I don't think a lot of females are getting this. She wasn't never designed to be alone. She wasn't never designed to work against the head. She wasn't. So because Eve worked against Adam, the Creator he increased her sorrows. He multiplied that thing. She gonna multiply. She gonna have hard labor now. What is that curse? Let's get into that curse. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28:56. And then we're going to jump over to Sirach, the 9th chapter, verse 1 through 9. Let's do Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, verse 56. Let's grab that real quick. Deuteronomy 28:56.
The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicacy and tenderness,
Delicateness and tenderness.
her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter.
Go ahead, read verse 57.
And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee in thy gates.
So they say that this happened during the time of a siege of, I think, between Babylon and Assyria, something like that, that was taking place. But let's look at the content of this thing. The tender and delicate woman among you. Why they call her tender and delicate? Because she's feminine. She's the scary type, or she's the soft type, which will not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. She's not going to move fast. She's not, she be very careful at the things, the way she move. That's what the type of woman he's talking about. She's very careful at how she move and why she move. Because she realized that if she move wrong, it can mess things up. She realized that. Her eyes shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom. Of her bosom. See? Things are happening in the siege that causes her to now step up to do things that she normally wouldn't be doing. Her eyes shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom and towards what? Her son, because he reminds her of him. And towards her daughter. Why? It's because that daughter came from who? Him. And towards the young one that cometh out from between her what? Feet, meaning she's having a baby. She's not going to like him. We're going to get into that in a second. She's not going to like him. She's not going to like them. And towards her children, which she shall bear. She's not going to like her children. Some people say, oh, no, she going to like them. She care for them. We not talking about maintaining them. We talking about like them. She's going to work evil towards them. See, that's why it's going to be more women to men. We saying no, that's the popular. No, I'm going to talk about that. Let's get into it. Let's go to Sirach, the 9th chapter, verse 1 through 9. I'm going to tie all this in. I'm going to bring it all back in this full circle. Just give me a minute. Sirach, the 9th chapter, verse 1 through 9. This is in the Apocrypha. And this is what it says. Do not be jealous of a wife you love. Don't be jealous of her. Why are you jealous of a wife you love? If she loves you, there's no reason for you to be jealous of her. Do not be jealous of the wife you love. You will only be teaching her how to do you harm. See? The Bible telling you men not to be acting jealous, like you jealous of her because this what she doing that. Don't be jealous of her, because if you're jealous of her, she's going to only take that further. This is Bible talking. That ain't me talking. Because when you show her that you are jealous, that the things that she's doing, she's going to take that thing further. And it's going to become then it's going to become irreparable. And now she's going to do things purposely to make you mad, upset, and etc., etc. That's what she's going to purposely do. So do not be jealous of the wife you love. You will only be teaching her how to do you harm. Do not surrender your dignity to any woman. Huh? Don't do that. Keep away from other men's wives. Why? Or they will trap you. See, this is Bible. So you have to know the Bible. Stay away from other people's wives because that wife will try to trap you. Emotions will start coming in, feelings will start coming in, etc., etc., etc. Let's keep going. Verse 4. Do not keep company with females, musicians. They will trick you. Musicians, why? Because they know how to play certain types of sounds to be able to capture you. Let's go, verse 5. Do not look too intently at a virgin, or you will find yourself forced to pay a bride's price. Why? It's because you're thinking in your mind what you could do to her, and you're going to try to push up on her. The next thing you know, you're trapped with her. Verse 6. Don't give yourself to what? Prostitutes. Those type of women that's out of order. Or you may lose everything you own, because just for that one time, fun time, you're going to lose everything that was in your pockets. Or you may even lose your life. Verse 7. So don't go looking about in the streets or wandering around in the rundown parts of town. When you see a good-looking woman, look the other way. Don't let your mind dwell on the beauty of any woman who is not your wife. This is Bible. You're saying it's talking about the man. Well, no, let's talk about the woman. Many men have been led astray by a woman's beauty. It kindles passion as it were fire. Verse 9. Don't sit down to eat with another man's wife or join her for a drink. You may give in to the temptation of her charms and be destroyed by her passion. Because a woman would try to drag a man in. See, you see all that? That was labor. He's going to make it hard for a woman, a female. He said, I will greatly multiply the sorrows of your labor. Back to Genesis chapter 3. I'm going to greatly multiply the sorrows of your labor. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to greatly multiply the sorrows of your labor. Why is he going to do that? Because the female is out of order. Give me 1 second, because this thing I can kind of slow. All right. Labor is having difficulties in doing something. That's what labor means. You're having difficulty in doing something. He's going to multiply the sorrows of her labor. Her labor is going to have hardship in it. So now my question now is, what will the female have to labor for? The amount of physical, mental, and social efforts used to produce goods and services in the economy. So that's what talking about labor, when you have to produce something for a particular area. Remember, we talked about the urban area. See? Hardship means severe suffering or privation. So when the female is having a hard time because she's numerous in existence, she became numerous. So now when the female became numerous, she multiplied. Her sorrows are multiplied. Her sorrows is multiplied. Oh, this thing just do. All right, here we go. Her sorrows is multiplied. He said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrows. That is multiplied now. Your sorrows is multiplied. Okay? She's going to have a hard time finding a husband. She's going to have a hard time bringing forth children. She's going to have a hard time maintaining her body. She's going to have a hard time now do things right. She's trying to become that queen or that royalty. She's going to have a hard time doing that. This is what's happening. See? Hardship also means toil, work extremely hard or increasingly. Whilst the woman is working increasingly hard, what is she trying to gain? What is she trying to be able to do? Because the sister already sat there and told y'all that if you don't have a king, you can't be a queen. So how many females are not queens because they're not married? They're struggling trying to find that Mr. Right. That's what Isaiah 4:1 was talking about. It's talking about the kingdom, yes, when everything refreshes itself back to where it was and where it fell from. That's the kingdom. Right now, the female is in a position that she is out of order. Let's go to the next video. Why a career woman struggles to find love. It's a 1-minute video. Fair use. Once again, it's for purposes for us to be able to learn, build, and to build ways that we can grow to what we need to grow in to become a nation again. Fair use in the 1970 Act. Here we go.
A driven woman is a woman who wants to spend a whole bunch of time in school trying to make it to the top of the course. A career-driven woman is a woman who wants to spend a whole bunch of time in school trying to make it to the top of the corporate ladder or trying to get a professional career. And what she does is the time spent that she's investing in trying to do that, her biological clock is ticking. Her desirability is decreasing. So that the personality traits that are so trying to be successful in a profession tend to be masculine. So those women.
So you got to hear what he's saying. I know he's talking pretty fast because this is like a 1-minute video. The career woman is trying to climb on top of that corporate ladder. She's looking for that power, but she's not looking for that power inside of her own man. She's looking for that power in the corporate of the urban area, the laboratory. That's what I call it, the laboratory. She's looking for that power in the laboratory. That's why she's single. That's why she can't find love. Not the right love. Because she's looking for that power in the corporate realm. Let's go.
And on top of that, the personality traits that are associated with trying to be successful in that profession tend to be masculine.
So he says that when a female tries to climb on top of power, she brings out that she resembles masculine energy. You want me to tell you why? Because that's not the area she's supposed to be in. See, the female done climb into an area that literally she don't supposed to be in. So now she's bringing that energy of that rim that she's in back to the man. Let's go.
Profession tend to be masculine. So those women are going to be more disagreeable. That's number one. Men want agreeable women. So you got a woman who's did everything on her own, who answers to basically no one except her boss in her job. And
did you hear that? She's gonna be disagreeable. Why? Because she did everything on her own. And the only person she answered to, let's hear it again.
Who answers to basically no one except her boss in her job.
Her what? Boss and her job. That's why I told y'all last week, family, is that a female, if she's masculine, she looks at her having a man as like a bank account or a car or a job or whatever. He's just another thing there. That's why a lot of females do not respond like the queen on the chessboard. Because that queen is not there to protect the king's interest. She's only there to protect the queen's interest. Let's ride.
Boss in her job, and she believes that the way she runs her life is the most effective way to know that relationship.
So, see, he said she don't know how to compromise or manage when it comes to that man of the house. Because she's used to pleasing her job and her boss, corporate America. The enemy's territory. She's used to compromising with that, but never to the man she's married to. That's right.
Is that when it comes to managing a relationship, those women are so focused on trying to attain male status and compete with males. But what you do is the years that you invest into trying to become that career woman, you take away from the youthfulness and the desirability that you had as a young woman that a man would desire.
Did you hear that? When a female tries to please something else, she's losing that youthfulness of herself that she's supposed to be with her husband. She's using that for something else. That's what Eve did when she went into that fruit. She used something else. She used herself for something else other than her husband and her house. That's why I sat there and told y'all that the female did not supposed to sit there and do what? Talk to that serpent. She didn't supposed to do that. That was not for her to do so. That was not for her to do that. That wasn't her. That wasn't her job. But she did that because she was looking at things for herself. That's why she examined that fruit. And when she examined it, she realized that after how far that thing took her away from her house. But she didn't care. She continued into what she was doing, and she gave it to Adam. Let's ride.
You had as a young woman that a man would desire. So you now have decreased your chances of having children, his attraction to you, his desire to commit you, because there's not for him that he desires now.
There's no room. Remember what Steve Harvey said last week in the video with Oprah? There's no room for where that man can sit. So that's why the man is not going to sit around long enough, because there's no room for him. Because she got everything. That's right.
The things he's attracted to, you spent your career decreasing. So you have to prioritize one or the other. You either take advantage in your youthful stages and you become a wife, or you chase your career and risk never becoming that.
There you go. You either want to be a wife that the Creator made you to be, or you chasing after the system that you were forced to be in, and never becoming or obtaining the status of a wife. Let's look at the next one. Any questions thus far? Anybody want to add anything? I'm going to pull up the next one. This one is independent women who say they don't need a man. How's that going? Let's go ahead. Let's ride. Give me 1 second. Fair use, fair use. Let's ride.
I'm just gonna tell you, I'm tired of having to keep my cool all the time, and people still fuck you over. So
Now there's gonna be some vulgar language, so y'all have to excuse the language, but this is her true expressions because she's hurt. All right, let's go.
I've been having car issues, okay? One car after another. Now I go take my car in, my GMC Acadia, and I'm
hoping that the music don't strike my channel, but go ahead. That's not my music in the background.
My tire rotation, regular stuff. And so I put that all in there, confirmed it with the lady when I made the appointment. And then when I got there, I checked in or whatever. And I asked the gentleman, his name was Michael. And I asked him, I said, how long is it going to take? He said about 2 hours. I said, okay, to get all the stuff done, the sensors, blah. He was like, yeah. I said, okay. So I walked 25 minutes to the mall because I wanted to get my steps in. So I walk back and I see that the prices aren't adding up or whatever. And I asked him, I said, okay, and I also see here that it says I have an oil leak. Why didn't nobody call me and let me know that I had an oil leak? Is that something I probably would have wanted to get fixed today if possible? And he was like, oh, well, I just kind of saw it now. And then when, I asked him, I said, okay, well, did they at least, fix the sensors? And he said, oh, well, no, because one of them needs to be replaced. And I said, okay, so you fixed it, right? Because that's the reason why I brought my car in. Well, that's one of my main complaints. And he said, no, we fixed it. Was that something that you would like to do? And I had to keep because it's like that. Why point in your you didn't even give me a courtesy call to say that, hey, it's going to be a certain amount of money, so I could have just said, yeah, go ahead and do it. But then I had to walk all the way back and it's not even complete.
Okay, so initially I saw this clip and I wasn't going to use it, but then I saw a stitch and the man that did the stitch, I thought it was very interesting how he broke down what she was going through. Let's take a look at how he broke this down.
Unfortunately, this emotional breakdown is what awaits many modern women. This woman needed car work done. She took her car to the GMC dealer.
Now pay attention.
And had serious issues. It's not her that's supposed to be taking her car to the dealership. It's her husband that's supposed to be dealing with that. We are built and made to be your shield and deal with unruly people. That's our jobs. You guys have let people lie to you and tell you that you don't need a shield. And you spend all of your time trying to be a man and a woman. And this is the result. You break down. And she's not tired physically. Her soul, her heart is tired.
Did you catch that? Let's hear it again.
To you and tell you that you don't need a shield. And you spend all of your time trying to be a man and a woman. And this is the result. You break down. And she's not tired physically. Her soul, her heart is tired.
We have to make our lives now, and can, in a much more complex pattern, but it can't always be happiness.
So when I saw his clip, I thought he explained that precisely. And then on my For You page, I started getting videos of more independent women that were in despair. And it sort of went like this.
Can I keep it all the way a buck with y'all for real? As I've been doing this shit this whole time. I want to go into what it's really like having depression. Because I feel like people tell you it's just like not being able to get out of bed and shit like that, but it's so much more. There's the aches and the pains and the ideation and sometimes the inability to cope with just regular shit. So for the life of me, I've never understood why people fake or pretend to have depression, because it's incredibly debilitating. It's incredibly debilitating. I hate the fact that I wake up most days and I hate the fact that I wake up most days. I know that's the depression.
This is what Isaiah 4:1 is talking about. It's going to be more females that are suffering who just gonna want a man, because they're gonna want to just feel what they're gonna want to know what it feels like to be royal. Let's go.
Talking. I know it's an illness of stuckness. I know you're supposed to get up and move, but when you just don't feel like living, what's the fucking point of doing deep breathing? I sit in the space and hold the space for my clients, which I can't even do now. I'm too fucking burnt out. And we sit and process what it's like, but to actually experience this shit is way the fuck different.
She said when you experience it, it's way different. That is why a female supposed to be the helpmeet. Let's go.
It's way different. Like you have gaps of time you like don't remember. We could just stick to creation. I think that is the worst of it. That is the worst of it. It doesn't matter how you feel about yourself. It doesn't matter how much you love yourself. It doesn't matter any of that. When that depression wants to fucking kick in, you don't want to live anymore.
Bruh.
See? You're talking about depression. This is the problem. A lot of females are suffering from depression. This is some of the toilness and the hardship that you're going to go through. Let's go.
It doesn't matter how you feel about yourself. It doesn't matter how much you love yourself. It doesn't matter any of that. When that depression wants to fucking kick in, you don't want to live anymore.
Bruh, I wasn't going to use this clip either, but when I saw a thought in her headings, I said, what the hell is this? Wait, what the hell is this? So she must be having regrets about her thought activity, and it drove her into depression. But this is the age we live in, is sexually liberated, and women are told to be sexually free in their youth. And this is the result. Depression. According to women, their grandmothers and their mothers said, don't worry about no man. Don't worry about being married young. You do you. And this is the results. It's driving women into depression.
I couldn't have said no better than that. Let's go.
Freedom to think, to choose to slide the diversity of it and be a person. That is the major change.
I truly cannot catch a fucking break. Look at this. If you're a lot luckier than I am, let me explain to you that is a critical engine fucking failure. For the second time in 2.5 years that I've had this piece of shit Kiesel. This is a brand new miles on it with the exact same defect as the last one. Last time this happened, they had to import the engine, and it took damn near 2 months for me to get my fucking car back. Wasn't as big of a deal then because I had somewhere to live at the time. I do not now. I am in here. And if this happens again, if it takes this long, again.
Isaiah 4:1. I keep telling y'all what this verse means. They need their disgrace and shame taken away. Let's ride.
That's it. I can't work. So I'm not going to be able to keep up with my payments. I'm not going to be able to do anything. And I'm not going to be able to start over because losing this car is going to ruin my credit so fucking much that the only way that I'll be able to buy a car again is with cash, which is not an amount of money that I will ever be able to get because I can't work. I can't do this. I can't do this. Oh my God. I just want to know what I did to deserve this life. Like, what God did I piss off? Seriously. I can't fucking do this anymore.
Don't mind my hair. Okay, so if I don't find somewhere to live, I'm about to be homeless, right? I really don't have time, like no time at all. So mom calls me, mom's like, you know you can come and live with me. I love you, mom, but I can't. Because see, when you want something, you're sure. It's so spiritually guided. You figure it out. I'm not afraid of being homeless. I've been homeless before. See, some less is because you have a fear of I'm not scared, and I'm not afraid. Don't be afraid.
And you spend all of your time trying to be a man and a woman, and this is the result.
Isaiah 4:1. The shame and disgrace. They want a man, a male, a husband to come in and save them. Let's go.
This was something straight out the horror flicks, at least by her screams. A man in those situations would just think logically, call AAA, call a tow truck. I mean, her phone wasn't dead, and it tripped me out how she just had to get that on camera. Car slips off the road, and your first reactions is, I need to record this for TikTok. Even in the movies, men are expected to go into town and find help, but women don't see the importance of having a man. Yeah, okay.
Do you think men are important? Like for what? We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Are you totally free though up here? Are
No. I wish I were. But I'm not free. I'm all full of doubts. I hate going places alone still.
I've reached this point in my life where the strong, independent woman phase is dying down, like slowly dying down. Like I'm tired. Okay? I've been at it since I was 13 years old, whether that's being a full-time employee, a student, or a stay-at-home mom of 3 kids who were all homeschooled. Me, I'm tired. And I've reached this point in my life where I have to really listen to myself. I have to listen to my body.
Notice what she's saying. She's tired. See? That's Isaiah 4:1. I keep telling y'all what these curses are. Isaiah 4:1. Let's go.
And my mental health is more important than trying to do it all on my own. And it's a lot, y'all. Like trying to do this on your own is a lot, especially after going through a divorce and literally transitioning my life to being a single mom. It's a lot. Okay.
Notice what she says. She's divorced, she got a child, and she's trying to do it on her own. She said that's a lot. Because it wasn't designed for her to do that. It wasn't designed for her to do that. Let's go.
Okay. But I've reached this point in my life where I now have to start delegating things. Okay? Get somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to clean my house weekly. Get somebody else to do my yard. Get somebody to do grocery shop for me. And I literally just don't have the time and the mental capacity anymore to continue trying to live about this image of being a strong, independent woman. I'm not.
You hear what she's saying? She need help. She wants somebody to come take away her shame and disgrace. A lot of females are tired. Go. Let's go.
I'm a damsel in distress. I need help. Save me. Please.
You know, everybody's always like, oh, I'm gonna make it out the hood. I'm gonna make it out the hood. You know who gonna get me out the hood, bitch?
Because truly, deeply, if she don't get us out the hood, I don't know what it's gonna give because there's nothing up here. Not a zero zilch. Settle, nigga.
All right.
Anybody got any feedbacks on this?
All I can do is shake my head on some of this. That's just, I mean, yes, I understand the frustration of a lot of that, but sometimes you have to kind of use some common sense and just take a lot of the emotions out of all of that and just really think and do, because a lot of times that's what's going to really help you. Wow. Mm-mm.
That's why we have to understand what the scripture is talking about. We don't understand the curse. See, they need the female was not designed to be alone. Because she was designed to help. Let's get into the next video. 36 million black women, so-called, can't find a boyfriend. I don't agree with that. A boyfriend or a husband. This is a 7-minute video. This is a news report video. So fair use, fair use. On this one, let me put it into let me properly share this. Fair use, fair use. 1970 Act. We are only here for criticism and reaction. This is not my material. I don't claim no rights to this material. I'm only sharing this material for educational purposes only. So fair use, fair use. Here we go. See, a lot of females, they don't know how to react nor respond.
In a baby carriage.
And the reason why they don't is because they wasn't trained to do so. So let's go.
I love marriage in a baby carriage, to paraphrase those famous lyrics. But for millions of black women, many blessed with brains and beauty, finding the right man is proving elusive. But why? Are their standards too high, or are the pickings too slim? Lindsay Davis tried to answer that question.
Now notice what she said. They got brains and beauty, but they can't find a man. Is their standards too high? Or is the so-called man that she was given to is not around? Let's get the answer. Let's go.
Birthday! Cheers. Make a wish. Nicole Marchand is celebrating another birthday. At 31, she's accomplished a lot. She's a prosecuting attorney and running for state court judge.
It'll be a $500 fine.
Nicole isn't the kind of woman you'd find standing by on the sidelines of life. But you would find her here at the Georgia Dome, cheering on the Atlanta Falcons. You've heard of a man's man. Nicole is the quintessential man's woman. She appears to have it all, and yet
I don't want to bring her music in. All right, I'm gonna turn it down.
she's still single.
Forward to the day. I look forward to being married.
It's just not that easy. For starters, there are more black men, 1.8 million more. So even if every black man in America married a black woman today, 1 out of 12 still wouldn't make it down the aisle. Let's take 100 black men. If you eliminate those without a high school diploma, those without a job, and the number of black men between the ages of 25 and 34 who are incarcerated, that leaves only about half of black men eligible to pop the question.
So in other words, let's look at this thing for what it's saying. Let's look at it. They're showing you how the so-called black man was removed. Let's go back over it again. Let's go, excuse me.
America married a black woman today, 1 out of 12 still wouldn't make it down the aisle. Let's take 100 black men. If you eliminate those without a high school diploma, those without a job, and the number of black men between the ages of 25 and 34 who are incarcerated, that leaves only about half of black men eligible to pop the question.
So why is it that a lot of our men are gone? See? Nobody was there to protect the so-called black man. No one was there to protect the so-called black man. He had to protect himself. Let's go.
Nicole sees the problem every day.
It is sad to see that the majority of the defendants that we prosecute are black males. Those numbers can be very disappointing.
Admittedly, the selection of men is slim.
Get it through your head. You're the Friday girl that's just for sex. That's what you are.
We broached this serious dilemma with comedian turned relationship guru Steve Harvey, author of the book Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man.
There are still a lot of good men out there who are being overlooked.
Harvey says black women don't have to settle, but may need to compromise.
You a corporate exec? Does he have to be a corporate exec? You make $150,000 a year. He has to make 150 or above? That's your requirement?
But see, one thing about what Steve Harvey is saying, I get what he's saying, but you got to understand this female. Once when she done put on that role of power, how does she take it off for a man that's less than what she think? How does she do that? See, once when that female put on that role of power, how does she take it off? To be able to be with a man who she think that does not have nothing to do with power. How does she do that? Let's go.
If your requirement sheet is ridiculous, you have to look at it.
What we looked at were the large numbers of professional black women who groomed themselves for success with BAs, MDs, and JDs. 70% of them are still without the more elusive title, MRS.
I would be lying. See, because what happened? They ran after corporate. They ran after the system that was built around them that told them to get rid of the man. And now as they get up into a certain rim of status, they looking for that man that they can't find. Because they were looking for a success, not in the man, but in themselves. They wasn't looking at themselves as a wife, as the helpmeet to anyone but corporate. So now as they done got old and done got everything that they wanted, now they're looking for that man, but they don't have room for that man now. And a lot of them are ashamed. A lot of them are in disgrace. Let's go.
If I said that I don't have fleeting thoughts of, okay, I'm 32, my clock is ticking.
The tick-tock of the biological clock is getting louder for several of Nicole's
Talking
single
about having
friends.
babies.
Meet Chateau Waters. She's a 32-year-old high school counselor pursuing a doctorate degree in psychology.
We have this thing called the Black girl curse. A lot of our white friends are married by 25, like happily married. kids by 27. And we're like, what is the deal with the BGs?
Because they don't, because the white woman knows and all these other women knows that they're not going to put themselves, they're not going to allow anything to be put over the man that they're supposed to be with. That's the problem. It don't make a difference if they become corporate. It don't make a difference if they become this or that. They're going to learn how to have a husband. They know their roles. See, but when it comes to a so-called melanated woman, she don't know her role. And that's why a lot of them are single. Isaiah 4:1. Let's ride.
You know, just, and it's the black girl.
Jakeen Ashford is a chemist for a pharmaceutical company. Now that she's 34, she's lowered the bar when it comes to height requirements.
I don't have a certain criteria, like if you're not 6'5", and I used to, but then as I got older, I said, okay, well, maybe if you're 6'3", 6'2", 6'1", okay, maybe we could see eye to eye. I kind of have certain standards that I hold myself to, and I don't feel like I should have to settle on those for the sake of having somebody. I'm willing to wait.
Like many black men, she's also open to dating outside her race. In fact,
see, and that's what happens when your standards are so high. And just think about it. How many so-called good men that was of her caliber she turned away that was melanated? And there's nothing wrong with having standards. A female should have standards. But when you know that your standards are too overbearing, don't you think you should turn it down or tune it down? You should tone it down. But they're not going to do that. A lot of females not going to do that. That's why they don't have anything. So that's why she has to now go outside of her race. Let's go.
In fact, in the past decade, the number of black women entering interracial marriage has more than doubled.
Whoa, did you see that? Interracial marriage has done doubled. Told you the enemy, he's walking behind the so-called melanated woman. Because now when he got the so-called melanated man out of the house, he got the so-called melanated woman out of the house, you're now putting your child into his system. You're eating his foods. And a melanated woman, she still don't want to submit. I'm going to show you she's not. And then what happens? Now she's going, now she can't find someone that is like her. She's now going outside of her. All this is part of the game plan. Let's go.
Last night, was at a restaurant. Had a great conversation with this Caucasian gentleman. I mean, we were
Look how she said the Caucasian. Look how she said it. She said it with a caution in it. Watch this. Let's ride.
Marriage has more than doubled.
In fact, last night, was at a restaurant. Had a great conversation with this Caucasian gentleman. I mean, we were vibing, we were clicking. I'm thinking, he's gonna ask for my number. White men never ask for my number. And he was like, all right, well, great conversation. Maybe I'll see you around. I was thinking, what happened?
Ask for his.
No.
Black girls were maybe not as coveted as black men in society.
Melinda Watson is a 28-year-old payroll specialist. She hasn't had an exclusive relationship since college.
I just feel that there's a lot of taboo that they're necessarily going to want to take us home to see mama.
The consensus in this group was that their preference is to marry a black man. It's not that they can't find one to date. The issue in many cases is exclusivity.
You meet these great guys, you have good relationship, good rapport, and then it's almost like, I'm gonna keep you around and hopefully when I'm ready to settle down, you'll be there.
That's the back pocket girl.
The back pocket girl.
Yeah. Every now and then they'll check in with you to make sure you're still single.
You're not married yet? Are you still single? You still waiting on me? No, not really.
Chateau hasn't been in a committed relationship in more than a decade.
If you have 4 quality women that you're dating and, they're in rotation, I mean, who's going to rush into a marriage?
We decided to ask Mr. Harvey for advice. He listened as we asked our single ladies about their requirements.
I had a list of about 50 things that I would keep in my Bible. It's now down to about 10.
Honesty,
Supportive, financially stable.
Now, granted, I'm 31, so he needs to be at a certain stage.
What do you consider a deal breaker?
if there's not that initial chemistry, it's never going to work. I don't care if you have every quality on my list.
I'm not going to talk to you if I'm not attracted to you.
Right.
Are they asking too much?
So maybe it's just that we want it all.
Single ladies, throw your hands up. How y'all doing?
His initial reaction?
All y'all fine. Hell, who don't want to go out with y'all? Me and my age have made a mistake in that we didn't teach the generation behind us the principles of manhood. There are so many African-American men missing, absent in the family.
His advice? Go for the older man.
You have a biological clock. We don't.
While these women look forward to settling down, they're not willing to settle.
The one thing that I can't control is a man choosing to marry me. And so I choose not to worry about it.
Being that I've waited so long, I can't settle now. It's not an option for me.
I would love to be in a relationship, a marriage, but I don't feel that that defines me. So if I don't find the perfect person for me, then I'll just remain single.
I'm Lindsay Davis for Nightline in Atlanta, Georgia.
Any comments on this video? While I pull up the last one.
I mean, it was interesting to hear what they were saying, and a lot of the things they were saying, okay, I could understand to a certain extent, but a lot of times, like you said, it's nothing wrong with having standards because that's the person you're going to be with for the rest of your life. But the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So it's almost like, are you allowing them to find you, or are you trying to find them? But it's either one or two things. Like she said, she had 50 things, and then it went down to 10, because she probably knew that my expectations were a little too high, and if I keep going this way, I ain't gonna never have nobody, or I'm gonna try to find somebody that's gonna end up being the wrong person because I probably let the good ones go because of my standards being too high. So, I mean,
that's right.
And there were some things that Steve hit on that was, was right. He was like, yeah, y'all have a biological clock. We don't. And, so I think they just have to really reevaluate what they're willing to do as far as like, are you going to continue to set these high bars, or are you going to lower them and be happy, or just be by yourself for the rest of your life?
And a lot of females don't really want to be by themselves, but then you have to settle for that. And the reason why you have to settle for that is because why? It's because there's nothing else coming.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I was going to say real quick but she was saying when she was at the bar, she was talking to that Caucasian guy. He probably was like, well, yeah, she's a nice, attractive, smart woman, but a lot of them are not going to cross that barrier because they know how they was taught and how they was brought up. And they know not to bring that type of woman home, because I don't care how many interracial relationships you have. We all know that their family was not all keen on that. And there may be some that may have become lax, but for a reason. And you better believe it's going to benefit them.
Correct. And that's why she was hesitant. That's why she was hesitant at pushing out that that guy was Caucasian. So here's one more video, and this one is called Real Women Holding Feminists Accountable. Number 2. All right, let's grab it. Real Women Holding Feminists Accountable. Here we go.
A feminist. Not many victims of sexual assault for it. You
Who among us considers herself a feminist?
I only know so many victims of sexual assault before you have to care.
If they're true.
Right. It's an allegation. That's not a conviction. They're innocent until proven guilty.
There's a lot of women that say that they were assaulted that weren't actually assaulted, and it takes away from the women who were assaulted.
What's up, YouTube? Poor Man Podcast back with another video. Give me the HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special. Hit the like and subscribe button. Let's get right into the video.
This Morning is partnering with digital media company Refinery 29 for the series My Vote, looking at the impact of millennial women on the upcoming midterm elections. Alex Wagner spoke with a group of 6 millennial women voters from Pennsylvania at Frankfurt Hall in Philadelphia. The panel included 3 Republicans as well as 3 Democrats. They all plan to vote in November's midterm elections. And in an exclusive clip for CBSN, they spoke about a variety of issues, including feminism and sexual misconduct.
We're all women here. Who among us considers herself a feminist? Raise your hand. Halfway up. Why are you a feminist? What does that mean?
To me, it means that I fight for the equality of women when it comes to equal pay, equal rights, and especially respect.
When I think of a feminist, I definitely don't picture myself. I don't feel like I need to go fight for rights that are. Yeah.
All right. And so it's just really a shame that we have to continue to do this, but it's not even real. The gender gap is not real, guys. The study she's referring to, which has been a Cancer Society, is a study that just took into account all salaries. It didn't equate for work hours. Men work 41 hours a week on average. Women work about 36 hours a week on average. Who do you think is going to get paid more on their paycheck? It didn't equate for more dangerous jobs. Men work more dangerous jobs. In fact, men make up about 93% of all workplace deaths. If you work a more dangerous job, you tend to get paid a little bit more because you could die. If companies could save 20% by hiring women, we would be hiring based on cup size. There would be a man couldn't get a job to save his damn life, but it's just not true. It's not real. It's not even a real thing. It's just one of the last things that feminism has to hold on to. And so they keep putting it out there and doing research because they won't believe that they're disenfranchised, when it's just not true. You don't work long hours and you're being coached AC. That's the reason why you tend to get paid less.
So see, the female wants to be in the same arena as a male. She wants to hold the same algorithm like a male. And see, this goes squarely against scripture. Let's go.
Women will opt out of work to go take care of their children, which is what they should do. Women take more sick days to take care of their children, which is what they should do. I'm not saying these are bad things. I'm just saying this is the reason why women don't get paid on average as much as men. But let's keep going.
There's not a war on women right now.
Yeah, I think feminism is cancer. What right does a woman not have in America today? When you look at the gender wage gap, is complete myth.
You think the wage gap is a myth?
Oh, it's absolute myth. When you look at statistically broken down, there is no wage gap. The problem is women typically go into fields that are lower earning than men.
Lauren, are you a feminist?
No. When I hear the word feminist, from what I see in the media, I kind of look at it as a victim kind of mentality. I am all about women's rights, women's equality, and more so equality of opportunity.
After this, I'm done stopping the video, but I do have to say this. When we talk about equal rights, what are we really talking about? Because when I see this thrown out, it's not really said with any merit. When I look up, I see that women don't have to enter the draft to vote. Is that an equal right? When I look up, I see the fact that a woman can terminate a child without a man's consent, which is 50% his. Is that an equal right? When I look up, I see that women can opt out of parenthood while a man can't. That cool? When I look up, I see that women have less prison time for the same sentences as men.
I don't want to get the commercial in. So let's get back.
for the same crimes as men. Is that equal? Men are more likely to be victims of abuse. Men are more likely to be victims of every violent crime except for the R word. Men are more likely to be military deaths. Men are more likely to be workplace deaths. Men are more likely to be homeless. Men are more likely to be to have some kind of substance or alcohol abuse. But when we talk about equality, we don't talk about these things. Because when a woman is failing, it's because of the patriarchy. When a woman is succeeding because she's just innately better. We don't talk about these. So that's proof of the patriarchy, while the rest of men, mostly 99% of them, are just everyday hardworking men trying to provide, and they get swept under the rug because the proof of the patriarchy is this hyperproductive 1% of men. It's absolutely ridiculous. But we're talking about equality, right? I have yet to see any movement of equality talk about these things.
Women's equality and more so of opportunity. I do believe there is a gap in wages. I've seen it.
Jessica, when we talk about politicians who have been accused of sexual misconduct, does that matter when you are making your vote?
I think it's a good indicator of their morals and of their values. And so it does matter to me because you can only know so many victims of sexual assault before you have to care. I think it points to a bigger ethical issue, bigger moral issue, because if you can look at someone and view them as less than you and devalue them, then you're going to treat everybody that way.
I think it's an indicator.
If they're true.
Right. It's an allegation. That's not a conviction. They're innocent until proven guilty.
There's a lot of women that say that they were assaulted that weren't actually assaulted, and it takes away from the women who were assaulted.
Right.
We have men literally having to go to court with pulling out text messages from women who claim that they were raped when they really just regretted having touched that man. That is just so repulsive that women are lying about being raped. Regret is not.
Thank you.
These are tough conversations to have. And there feels like there's a real steep divide in this country between the left and the right. How many of you have friends who are from opposite parties?
And I just wanted to say something about that, because that is the elephant in the room. And the truth of the matter is we can't believe all women. We can't believe all people, because people will lie. People will lie for the benefit of themselves, and it happens all the time. Like, let's just be completely honest. If you regret something, that means it was assault. That doesn't mean it was assault, and people don't get that through their minds. And it carries throughout society, and it really takes away from the people who were actually assaulted. You didn't go to that hotel room with insert Hollywood producer because you thought you were going to play checkers at 2 a.m. You knew what you were going there for, but because you didn't get the role that you wanted, now you want to cry wolf 15 years later, 20 years later. And if you have actually been assaulted, I sympathize with you and empathize with you, and I think that those people should be put under the jail. Right? Nobody says that stuff is okay, but we can't just continue to make it so that these men are guilty before they're even proven to be actually guilty. You say that, oh, they're not actually proven guilty, but if I'm a celebrity and I have sponsors and I have responsibilities, maybe I take care of my models, I have a really expensive house, expensive car, and how I through sponsorship and from me. You're saying that's me being proven guilty. It doesn't matter if in court it actually says not guilty. None of these brands want to work with people that have allegations. So a woman can destroy a man's whole life based on allegations, based on fake news. And that's absolutely ridiculous.
Friends with them.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Tell me about those conversations that you have with them.
Some of them are really enlightening because it helped me, like, I'm an experienced debater, so I can see both sides, but to really, really draw me in has been helpful to help me wrap my mind around what is the argument.
I want you to understand. I'm going to stop the video right here. I want you to recognize one thing. End up with one melanated woman up there. The rest of them are Caucasians. I let the video play that long because I wanted you to see that you females that are melanated are running off of their ideas. It's not yours. It's not your idea. Let me go back to, see, the melanated woman is pretty much, she's quiet throughout the whole thing.
I remember you saying, I won't forget the life.
She's quiet throughout the whole video, except when they asked her a simple question. Because most of the video is most of all that is about them, not you. Them, not you. That's what it's about. It's about them, not you. Let me put it to when she first started talking. And then she was limited when she talked.
No, when I hear the word feminist,
And look how the sister looked at her.
kind of mentality.
Look how the woman looked at her.
Women typically go into fields that are lower earning than men. Lauren, are you a feminist?
No. When I hear the word feminist,
Look how she looked at her right here. Look how she looked at her. Look at that. She's not a feminist, she say.
From what I see in the media, I kind of look at it as a victim kind of mentality. I am all about women's rights, women's equality, and more so equality of opportunity.
My bad, y'all. After this, I'm done.
See? Of opportunity. It has nothing to do with the law of the creator. It's always something about an opportunity that they can thrive on that they won't. This is the reason why a lot of females are having problems. Okay? Let's keep going. Let's go back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. We're going to end this video right here. Let's go back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. It's always about an opportunity, family. It's never about rather not what the creator has designed you to be, to do. It's always about an opportunity that you can take, that you can grab, that you can obtain now. So Genesis 3:16, it says, and he said, greatly I will multiply thy sorrows and thy conception. So the sorrows, family, the sorrows. It's talking about a woman finding love, a woman finding help. She's not going to be satisfied. She's not going to be stable. She's not going to be able to find a husband or any type of help. Okay? And it says, and conception in sorrows. So let me read that again. And he says, when he says, and conception, I will greatly multiply thy sorrows and your conception. Conception is what? The action. That's the action. So he's going to multiply the action, family, of conceiving a child, or of what? Iniquity. Of iniquity being conceived. So sorrow going to come when the child is being conceived. Of being conceived. And in what? He's going to have hardship and hard the action of conceiving a child or a child being conceived. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. So now a woman going to have a hard time getting a husband. A woman going to have a hard time doing things within this economy, this system. A woman going to have hard time doing a lot of things because she's going to feel like she don't need a man. That's what she's going to feel like. I don't need a man. So now when she realized she needs a man because she done had a breakdown, she go through depression. There's things ain't going right. She ain't at peace. She's not at rest. So she's trying to find this man. That's what Isaiah 4:1 is talking about. And now through conception, she's having problems. She's having hardship. And when it says thou shalt bring forth, that means to bear. Of iniquity bringing forth iniquity. You're gonna bear of the wicked and bringing forth iniquity of wicked behavior. So this sister's she's now bringing forth. When she conceive a child by not wanting a man through depression, she's gonna bring forth a child by being tired. She's not going to be at rest. She's going to be going through complications. And now she's going to bring forth a child. Do you know what that means? She's passing that energy on to the child. That's why the woman don't supposed to be stressed when she's pregnant. See, the woman would bring forth a child in violation of the right or duty that mankind is under obligation to do so. And can also be a wicked act and an immoral conduct or what? Practice. See, she could turn something that's beautiful into something that's wicked. Let's grab a couple of scriptures. Let's go to Psalms 51:5. Let's go to Psalms 58:3. Ecclesiastes 7:20. Genesis 8:21 and Job 14:1. Excuse me, Job 14:1. Let's grab a couple of scriptures. We're almost done. By another 15 more minutes, we'll be done. Let's grab this Psalms 51:5. Psalms 51:5. Kind of going over because it took me about 15 minutes to pretty much get the mic straight. So, like I said, another 10 to 15 minutes, I'll be done.
Psalms 51:5. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me.
So he says he was shaping iniquity, and in sin did his mother conceive them. See? That means everything around him was out of order. Everything around him was not right. And in sin did my mother conceive me. Look at the mindset that his mother probably was in. Look at the energy that probably was going on, taking place. Psalms 58:3. Psalms 58:3 says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. See, the wicked are estranged from the womb. Estranged means that they don't have no connection to the mother nor the father. Definitely not the father. But in reality, they're not connected, not even to the mother. And some camps use that talking about the white man. But the woman was cursed of baby being estranged from the womb. So the woman is now being estranged from the womb. I mean, the woman baby is being estranged because there's no attachment there. There's nothing for that baby to attach to. Even the mother has disconnected herself from her own womb. We already read that in Deuteronomy 28. Because she's going to be so busy trying to chase everything else except being connected to her own child. So that child become estranged to the parent. Not saying that the parent is going to just, throw away the child. It's just that there's no relationship there. Ecclesiastes 7:20. So as that child grows up, that child has no attachment nor ties to the child, to the parents. Then the parent will say, well, I've been a good parent. Was you? Or did you just maintain the child? That's how the child become estranged from birth. See, a real man is going to stop all that. Ecclesiastes 7:20. It says, for there is not just man upon earth that doeth good and sinneth not. For there is not a just man upon earth that doeth good and sinneth not. There is not a just man that's on this earth. Every man had done fell. Every man had done fell. Because of the mother. Genesis 8:21. Because the mother is the mother is the one that the child looks up to. Then she's supposed to teach that child about the vision of the father. But when you're not being taught the vision of the father, then that child has no connection back to that man. It's connected to the mother. And if the mother is trying to chase her own desires, then that child is estranged now. It's literally growing up without any parents. Genesis 8:21. And the Creator smelled a sweet Savior. And the Creator said in his heart, in his mind, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake. For the imagination of his heart is evil from his what? Youth. Why is it evil? Because it was never properly connected back to the things that it was supposed to be connected to since that child was young. The mother had her own thing going and the father was out of the house. So now the child grows differently from the parents. And that's why a lot of us end up in prison. We end up homeless, didn't know about the economic system that we was threshed in. thrust in. We didn't understand the values of self. We didn't have no culture. Neither will I again smite any more everything living as I have done. Everything was corrupted from youth. Job 14:1. Everything was corrupted since birth. Man that is born of a woman in a few days and full of trouble. When a man is born of a woman of a few days, he's full of trouble. Why? It's because that energy that was passed on to that child. So when that woman brings forth a child, it's going to be full of iniquity and wickedness. He says, you shall bring forth children. So when a female is bringing forth a seed line that is out of order, she's bringing forth a seed line that is out of order. Let's grab another video. Got like 2 more videos and we'll be done. Woman rejects men and instantly regrets it. Here we go. Fair use, fair use. I don't want to see the video. I want to see the commercial. I was letting the commercial play out before I bring it over. You got to be kidding me on this.
He was too great.
What?
We did it for 3 months. He was not a pushover. He had friends. He was cool. He was perfect. And he took me places and spent money on me. And he had a car and he had a bank account and he had health insurance. And I broke up with him. I went back to my ex who got me a $15 gift card to Taco Bell for my birthday.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
So you were sleeping with 3 co-workers from the sandwich shop?
Yes, Your Honor.
Bodies.
Now check this out.
You contacted 2 of them to say you were pregnant, but you never contacted him.
Yes, Your Honor.
I said, hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
But I do not want him to be my child's father.
Well, you can't control that, can you?
No,
You can pick. You feel like you can pick.
No one is talking to you.
Wow. I didn't know you could pick.
let me make something clear. If you have at the back of parties, in the bathroom, unprotected, with everybody in the sandwich shop, you're not going to know who your child's father is.
Can I show you how everything folds? How
Please,
everybody
enlighten
is?
me.
Okay. I slept with Mr. Morton during our relationship sometime 17th, and slept with him again on the 28th.
Now look how she got all these
I'm on
dates
the red.
down.
When I slept with Mr. Gaddis at a party, it was around the 19th, and then again on the 22nd.
Listen, I'm not even laughing at the fact that she slept with all these guys within a 2-week period. I'm up here laughing at the fact that she up here using the calendar like it's gonna make it look better. I'm laughing at the fact that she up here acting like this a game show. Let me move it over here. Is that your final answer? Yeah, Steve, that's my final answer.
When I slept with Mr. Laurie, which
Oh,
was
my
a
goodness.
terrible
Can't make
mistake,
this up.
was the 24th as well as a party, and then again at the 26th.
These dates are a little closer
So
than I thought.
they're a lot closer, and they're a lot closer in the date of conception. So that's how everybody is.
They
I can go
are
back.
all right in the time of conception.
Listen, it's one thing to sleep with 3 different guys within about a 2-week time frame, but to sleep with 3 different men that you work with. Well, I hope you made your parents proud. Roll the next clip. Caused you nothing but headache and stress. Roll the next clip.
I'm not a city hall. City hall. Out in the hall. Me. I blame the dude. This goes to show you that to be a masculine, heterosexual, alpha male is not about how much money you have, but rather the principles that you stand on. And one of the principles that needs to be discussed here is the overextension and allowance of privilege that women that bring nothing to the table tend to have with beta pushover ass men. Don't raise your motherfucking voice at me. You're not that tight. Keep talking, you're gonna be a city girl. The man followed up by saying, I love you to death. Why? What about this chick is lovable? She trying to tell you how much money, $250,000, you finna spend on a wedding that you don't even want. Love me a crazy chick. Stupid. Having money and being a provider does not mean that you are an alpha male. Women created that logic because they want men's identity to be encompassed of the things that they want. I'm glad we left this shit in 2022 because she knows exactly who to hustle. He's the city hall boss.
Switching. All right, Nelson Walker.
Yes, ma'am.
There you are. All right, you're charged with stealing a Dolphin jersey.
Take some. They're looking at me, so I'm gonna assume that I'm just not his. They're gonna say something. Excuse me, sir. Are you looking for me?
No, but keep it moving.
I don't know.
I'm getting served with papers for back child support, and I had been giving her money the whole time. I would just give her cash. I would send it to her account, but I wasn't paying it through the state. Like whenever, so they basically went in and said, "All right, well, you didn't pay the state of Illinois, so basically you didn't give her nothing." And I'm telling the judge, like, "Look, I got documents. These are receipts from cashier's checks. This is over $1 million I've given this girl." They're like, "No, that was a gift. If you didn't give it to the state of Illinois, that was a gift." I'm like, "Are you serious?"
If you were making $100K a year, how much?
Did you catch that, men? It's called the judicial. It's called the judicial. Retirement plan. That's what you paying when you paying child support. You paying for their retirement. Let's ride.
Should you expect your man to make?
Equal or more.
Why?
Because when I look for a partner, I look for equal. Or if it's more, I'm not complaining, but it's got to be equal.
What do you think about this statement? My money is our money. Her money is hers.
I agree.
Okay.
I 100% agree.
Hold on. We're watching the same clip, right? I thought I just heard her say something about everybody being equal. That went out the door real quick. That might be a new record.
Why?
Our money is our money, but her money is her money, right? She's earning for herself. But like, no.
There you go. You see what just happened right there. For a split second right there, her brain actually sent a signal that was about to inform her to say, what you're saying makes absolutely no sense. But she caught herself. I've already dug myself too far in this ditch to turn back now.
You expect a man to protect and provide for you.
Yes.
If a man is expected to provide and protect, shouldn't he have some form of authority over his woman?
No, not at all.
Why?
A relationship is 50-50.
But it's not 50-50 if his money is our money and your money is yours. That's like 80-20.
This is a part of the show I like to call bye-bye logic. She literally just painted herself in a corner. But rather than finding some way to just say, you know what? Maybe I need to change the way I'm thinking. No, she's going to continue going down this rabbit hole. Why? Because for her, delusion is like a buffet. She can never get enough.
I don't want the commercial. After this video, we be done. Pick up the other part next week in the Most High, in the Creator's will. So you got to pay attention. This is why Isaiah 4:1 is in place.
Clarify one thing real quick for you guys. If you are one of these people who are obsessed with claiming being independent, let me just clarify something for you. If you have ever taken child support, alimony, any type of money from your child's father, welfare, food stamps, subsidized childcare, or anything under the sun, free lunch program at school, you can claim a lot of things, but you cannot claim to be an independent woman. Sorry, just how it works. And in a very, there's a few exceptions. If you are so incapable of raising your children without any of these programs, give your kids to your child's father and see how easily they provide a safe, nurturing home for your kids without any assistance. The reason you don't want to do that is because that will validate you as the inferior parent. Sorry.
Oh, did you hear what he just said? See, that'll validate the female as being inferior. But see, a lot of females is not going to give their child over to the father, especially when they're not capable of doing it. Let's go.
That's how it works. And the system we have in place encourages that behavior.
See, it's always about this system. I keep telling y'all it's about this system. All right, let's go.
What with you?
Oh,
he broke.
I broke up with
I want to do you. And the system in place encourages that behavior.
You broke up with him or he broke up with you? Oh, he broke up
I
with
broke
her?
up with him.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Took a while.
No, it was.
She's
yeah,
empowered.
I left.
Okay, name one thing he did wrong in the relationship, one thing you did wrong in the relationship.
I would say he was kind of like a narcissist.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Of course he was. All right, and then what did you do wrong in the relationship?
I kind of let a lot of things slide.
I knew it. Okay. Never fails.
I'm just saying.
All right, what about you? Every time we do that exercise, bro, it never fails. Ban 1,000 on.
So caring.
Yeah. Girls never say what they did wrong. It's a. I was so trusting.
I had too much patience.
I was too nice. I let him cheat. It's never. I was a raging. I was being insufferable. I was being annoying.
I mean, it's funny because it's true. It's like going on a job interview when he asks you, you say, you know my weaknesses? I work hard. Yeah, good one. Don't call us. We'll call you. And this is why there are so many women who end up finding themselves repeating the same mistakes over and over again. It's because when you can't admit that you have an issue going on, that you need to change things about yourself, or that you did something wrong, you don't even think that you have anything to change. Therefore, you go on doing the same things over and over again and put yourself in the same terrible, terrible positions.
So you better understand that a lot of females needs to come clean about the things they have been doing and have done wrong. Because if you don't, you're going to keep putting yourself in the same position. So let's go. We about done.
That you need to change things about yourself, or that you did something wrong, you don't even think that you have anything to change. Therefore, you go on doing the same things over and over again and putting yourself in the same terrible, terrible positions.
We're sitting at the thing, drinking our bubble tea or whatever. You weren't saying all that.
You came with no makeup. Yo, I was being respectful.
Now check this out. Watch her real fast. Watch her and her friend.
What's up? Yo, regardless, at the end of the day, you asked for my Instagram, so it wasn't like I wanted you. You wanted me. Then you wanted him. Hold on. Hold on. Don't make it. Don't make it look like I was trying to. I was trying to
see. Look how emotional she's getting, and he's trying to calm things down. Now pay attention to what he's saying, and pay attention to what he's going to ask her. Let's go.
Get on you, okay? I'm not even testing what you asked my Instagram.
Why'd you ask Instagram? Why'd you ask Instagram though?
Ask for your Instagram.
You lying?
A few moments later.
Did she or did she not ask for the Instagram?
She did ask for this.
Look at her. Look at her. Her best friend. Her best friend just sat there and said, no, she did ask for the Instagram. And now look at her. Look at her. Look at the mouse thing. Look how she's reacting. Look how she's reacting. Look at her friend. Look at the face of her friend. See, she wanted to make it seem like she wasn't after him. And her friend said, no, she did want it the Instagram. Let's go.
You lied.
I'll tell you one thing. That was not the answer she was expecting her homegirl to give. I hope they did not ride together. It's going to be kind of awkward. So here we have another one of these internet shows where guys and girls get in a room, rate each other, smash a pass, or what they think of that day to do. Now, oftentimes for the guys, they take it like it's just another day because, hey, guys get rejected every day. There's no guy out there batting 1,000 every time he talks to a woman. But for the women participants, things don't go according to what they think. And as we can see, like in this instance, sometimes egos get bruised and feeling hurt. Anyway, guys, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video.
So there you have it. Y'all go to the brother's channel and subscribe to the brother. The brother got some good content as well. All right. We're going to pick back up on next week. We're going to pick back up on next week. And we're going to finish up. There's going to be part 10 coming up because there's a lot with the female. This is the reason why she's going to be by herself and have conception pains. We're going to get into those conception pains next week. But I just kind of touched on the part where she's going to be alone and she's going to have a hard time finding a husband. She's going to have a hard time finding a spouse. And it's going to drive her into depression. She's going to be tired mentally and in her soul because she's doing things that she really don't supposed to be doing. So this is why the female has to understand when she's out of place, it's going to drag her down. It's going to make her look foolish. So anything somebody want to add before I close out? Because we have to realize that this is the reason why there's a war going on. She don't want to take responsibility for the things she did. is driving her in depression. She's so busy trying to climb up the corporate ladder that she done built everything that she wanted, but now she want a man. It's like a man become a thing to her. She never looked to be a wife. She's competing to be equal to the man, when the Creator never made her equal in that way to the man. They have the same purpose, but their roles are different. See, a woman can become successful all day long, but is she looking for that man to be her husband while she's in her youth? Because see, a woman will go all the way. See, that's part of the curse. She'll go do all these things, and then later on come looking for a man. But she'll never be attached to that man, because she done attached herself to the system. That's why she runs to the system for support. That's why I gave you the Urban Indian Act of 1956 at the beginning. Because why? They removed the so-called American Indian from off their land and brought them into the cities, which is a laboratory. That's an experiment laboratory. The cities, the towns, and the suburbs, those are laboratories. And they have you acting as if you got something because you live in the suburbs now. You're a hard-working so-called black woman. You live in the cities. You're a hard-working so-called black woman. But you're not hard-working when it comes to your spouse, which is supposed to be your king, like the sister said on the chessboard. You're supposed to do everything to protect him. But a lot of so-called melanated black women have a hard time protecting that black man. Any last statements before I close out? Because we're going to pick up part 10 next week. We're going to finish up with the female.
Well, I just want to say that I enjoyed the class. The information that was presented in the video shed some light on a lot of things that we may have heard of, or just seeing it in action. Just let you know that we have a ways to go, And I appreciate what the sister was saying that had a yellow on. You know, that's something to take into consideration if you're going to have a successful partnership, a successful marriage, you know. All praise to the Most High for the Shabbat.
All praises. And that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be showing enlightenment, because other than that, it's going to always be a war. So we have to get to a point to understand this thing. Because if we don't, then this is the reason why we're going to fail. See, because, they just a lot of females going through depression and don't even know why. You heard what that sister said, I'm tired. I need some help. And sisters, you got to understand that's part of the curse. And I'm going to show you when I get to the man in the Creator's will, how this will end. You being tired. Because it all deals with that man, that male. This curse is deep. And I'm not even finished with the woman's curse. Okay. So until next week in the Creator's will, may the Creator continue to bless you, keep you, and may you continue the rest of your symbolic Shabbat. Be peaceful, restful, and relaxful. And in 2 weeks, we're celebrating the memorial of Pesach, Passover. So to those who I did not say it to, Happy Abib. This is the year, this is the month of Abib. It means new year. We enter the new year. And this year, we should be looking to be greater and being closer within self, within house, and within creator. So until next week, I'd like to say shalom, shalom.